All right, class, let's continue our discussion on digestive system diseases with gastritis, inflammation in the stomach, and gastric ulcers. Gastritis and gastric ulcers for a very long time were thought to be caused by stress, by diet, and for a long time there was only a symptomatic approach to treating this disease. You were supposed to take a tablet every day to relieve your symptoms. And it wasn't until rather recently, a bacterial cause was discovered for this disease. The particular bacterium is Helio Factor. This is a bacterium that has a curved rod shape, and it was first discovered back in 1979 when stomach biopsies were being performed on patients that suffered from ulcers. Dr. Robert J. Warren and his partner, Barry J. Marshall, were able to isolate this microbe, and then they did something that was completely uncalled for. They swallowed a large inoculum containing this microbe. In other words, they had some nutrient broth they grew the microbe in, and then they drink it. Don't ever do that in a lab setting, please. This goes against a lot of safety protocols. And they found, before they went to drank the inoculum, they got tested for ulcers, and they verified, hey, I don't have any ulcers, fantastic. They drank the bacterium cocktail, and then subsequently developed stomach inflammation and a bunch of gastric ulcers. Which is good for us because they help to show that, yes, this bacterium causes that. But please, don't ever drink inoculum full of bacteria. If we look at gastritis, the symptoms associated with gastritis are a sharp burning pain that emanates from the abdomen. You know, that makes sense. There's inflammation and pain in the stomach. And gastritis will often lead to gastric ulcers, which is when a lesion will form in the mucosal lining of the stomach. That's a big deal. Our stomach has a lot of enzymes in it that digest proteins, and if a lesion develops within the mucosa, now those enzymes can start to digest the proteins that make up the wall of the stomach. That's a big problem. Another name for a gastric ulcer is a peptic ulcer. Severe ulcers oftentimes are going to be accompanied by bloody stool, vomiting, or both, because as our stomach starts to digest itself, it can digest its way into a blood vessel. Symptoms are typically going to be worse at night, after eating, or under conditions of physiological stress. Once that Heliobacter makes it into the gastrointestinal tract, it's going to bore through the outermost mucus layer that lines the stomach epithelium. Something that helps this particular bacterium live in the human stomach is this particular bacterium emits bases. One of the secretions of this bacterium is a basic compound that helps to neutralize the stomach acid, so it can make it to that basic mucosal layer and not die while it's floating around within the acidic chyme of the stomach. That bacterium will attach to specific binding sites on the cells and entrench itself. Before that bacterium was discovered, spicy food, high sugar diets, physiological stress were considered the main causes of that stomach inflammation. However, it's been found that these factors can just aggravate an underlying infection of Heliobacter. How Heliobacter is transmitted from human to human remains a mystery. Obviously, if one person is infected and they vomit into a cup and the next person drinks the cup full of the bacterium infected vomit, that'd be one way to pass it on. But not many people do that. So we really don't know how this bacterium is transmitted from person to person. We still have to figure that out. It's been revealed that this pathogen is present in a majority, or I shouldn't say a majority, but a very large portion of our human population. Heliobacter pylori is the bacterium that's probably been transmitted from person to person, fecal or oral route, but those are our hypotheses right now. We haven't been able to come up with good evidence to confirm that one way or the other. It seems that this is typically going to be acquired pretty early on in life and going to be carried asymptomatically throughout the lifespan of the patient until we start something that can damage our digestive mucosa, such as drinking alcohol, drinking excessive amounts, or, well, not necessarily in my case, but in other cases, drinking excessive amounts of coffee or having other unhealthy lifestyles. Other animals have been found to be susceptible to Heliobacter pylori, and though they can also develop gastric ulcers. But we as human beings are primarily concerned with other human beings. So we focus most of our research right now on treating this condition within humans. Right now, the only treatments are going to be some kind of symptomatic approach, or some kind of a band-aid approach. We want to diminish some of the aggravating factors associated with infection by Heliobacter pylori. Over-the-counter remedies can offer some relief. Those over-the-counter remedies typically focus on the neutralization of stomach acid. So if you look at Tums, Pepto-Bismol, most of those remedies are going to contain alkaline chemicals within them. If you're in a pinch and you're having some terrible stomach pain, go to the cupboard and eat some baking soda, eat some baking powder. If you can kill the Heliobacter pylori, you could kill off the cause of these stomach ulcers. So the best treatment has been found to be a course of antibiotics, augmented by an acid suppressor. Patients are typically going to be prescribed clarithromycin and metronidazole as the antibiotics of choice. This is a difficult thing to use, though, because these antibiotics regimens need to be in high concentrations and for extended periods of time to eliminate this bacterium from the digestive tract. So, our bacterium that causes this is Heliobacter pylori. My bad. We don't know what causes it. This bacterium has urease that it secretes and adhesions that help make it more virulent. This bacterium can be treated with antibiotics, and in the United States, approximately 1/3 of the adults are infected, and internationally, we're looking at approximately half of all adults are infected. If you have any questions for me about stomach ulcers or Heliobacter pylori, please feel free to shoot me an email or post them in the discussion board. Happy studies!